Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elad, and I work for Consensus Cloud Solutions. And we're really excited to show you our booth today. We're looking at referrals, digital freedom from fax. Now, I would ask you guys, how many of you have partners that tried to send you a fax or wanted to send you a fax? And how many of you have been told that you received a fax, but you can't seem to find it? So, we at Consensus are solving really common problems in healthcare, and this is exactly the issue that you're going to see. For the purposes of this demo, though, just to be super clear, let's pretend for a moment that we are a surgery center that serves a local community, including labs, urgent care practices, primary practices, and other healthcare providers who use fax as their preferred communication, and they don't want to change. So that leaves us with a problem. How do we, on the one hand, stay flexible with our community partners, and on the other, and at the same time, increase efficiency and provide our payers and other downstream partners with structured data? To solve this problem, we implemented eFax, which you'll see in a moment, Clarity, and Summit Exchange. And we're going to delve into those in a few moments, but I just want to highlight something very important here. Since we, the surgery center, determined that direct message was the best way to smoothly move content into the EHR, and now this is the important part, we effectively have a fax piece of paper to direct message automated process, all happening in seconds, which is absolutely amazing because it allows us to take in the hundreds of referrals that we receive regularly, all automated, and in near real time, it's able to make its way into the EHR. This alleviates the pressure of the human input and review, which can take hours or even days, delaying treatment for patients and costing us, the surgery center, money. So I'd like to introduce you to our patient. Her name is Juliet. She was recently rollerblading. She broke her arm. She went to the nearest urgent care center and then followed up with her PCP, whose name is Dr. Golan. Juliet's told that her arm will need surgery. She's a little scared and asked if the referral can be sent to a surgery center that's near her mother's house. Now, that happens to be our surgery center from earlier. And although Dr. Golan's office doesn't typically send referrals to that surgery center, they understood why she wants to be close to her mother's house. So Dr. Golan asked Juliet to get pre-op blood work from a local lab. She gets the blood work, and the lab faxes the results to the PCP. They still use paper fax. Dr. Golan's office uses eFax, which is a cloud faxing solution. They receive the fax and send Juliet's results along with the referral to the surgery center.
Hello, I'm Monique Senaviratne with Consensus, and I will be playing the role of Dr. Golan's assistant. So Dr. Golan has informed me that he's looking out for Juliet's lab work. So I've logged into the eFax web portal, which is one of the applications that we use. I'm checking my inbox to see if I've received some new faxes, and I have, and I'm checking to see if this particular one is the one we're looking out for Juliet. And I do see that, yes, this is indeed the document. I am now downloading it and viewing it here to make sure that I have all the details. All right, so yes, this is the information I needed. And I am now going to send this to the orthopedist at the surgical center. So Dr. Martin is who we are referring Juliet to. So I'm adding Dr. Martin's fax number. I can easily add additional fax numbers in here as well. I will quickly add a subject. Whatever I put in here in the subject or the message gets populated into the cover page. And I'll choose my fax. And off it goes. So under 20 seconds to view and look at the fax and send it out. I'm passing it on to Bronwyn now.
So hello everyone, my name is Bronwyn Huron. I'm also with Consensus, and I'm really excited to be showing you our new intelligent document processing software called Clarity. So Clarity is actually enabled on the inbound fax line. It is the document, it is attached to the fax line for the surgery center itself. And what you can see up here is actually a really important document. As you notice, it was the one that was being sent via fax. as it's coming into the surgery center, Clarity picks it up, and you can see really important demographics up at the top, including things like the name of Juliet, her date of birth, her address, her age, her sex, as well as her phone number. All of this is important information from patient matching, or making sure that when this record reaches an end system, that it'll actually be sorted into the right patient chart. In addition to that, you can see below that it's got a fairly complex CBC in it. That means that it's got a lot of different important lab values that are impacting whether or not Juliet is actually safe for care, and we can go ahead and schedule her. So normally today, if this had just gone in as a fax, someone would manually have to review it. They would hopefully find it very quickly on a printer or something along those lines, but instead we're able to handle it digitally. And then finally, when they would receive it, they would have to manually type in and identify all of these very small numbers. That's really tough. So this is where Clarity automatically does all that hard work for you, quickly, efficiently, and accurately. So up here you can see patient information. You can see that it matches as Juliet Pereira. You can see that it's an address, and you also can see the zip code and the date of birth and the phone number. All of this is matching to the document that you can see on this right side. And in addition, we're also extracting all of those important lab values. Now, this is a really nice way for humans to be able to see it, but the important part of this is that humans can look at that original fax and understand its meaning immediately. But in our case, we want to be able to say that we want a system to be able to automate this process. So, not only are we going to pass as Clarity and as eFax that original document for auditing purposes, but then we're also going to be identifying that important information in a structured way that the systems are actually going to be able to understand as well. So here you can see patient name, you can see Juliet, and you can even see how confident we are that those two things are related to each other. This is really important information that we're now going to hand over to Summit.
So meanwhile, at the surgery center, we've received the fax and also the JSON from Clarity. As you can see, it's the same fax that we were receiving from Clarity. Patient name up in the top left, sex up in the top right, and the lab data down below. Taking a look within the Summit Exchange interface engine, you can see up in the top left, we have a receiver ready to receive from Clarity, and on the top right, we have our connection out to Epic to send that direct message. Before we can send to Epic, though, we need to do some data transformation and modification within our mapper. Taking a little bit of a closer look within the mapper, you can see on the left, highlighted in blue, it's the patient name. And on the right, again in blue, is the patient name reformatted in the format that Epic is expecting. On the left, again in blue, you can see the confidence score that Bronwyn mentioned from the JSON document. We can use this to actually filter out results that the receiving vendor does not want to receive. If they only want to receive things above 95% or higher, we can absolutely do that for them. The important thing here is that the output that we're giving them is flexible. We can give them the direct message that they've asked for specifically and embed the original document in that so it can be ingested into the EHR, or we could build this into an HL7 lab ORU with those discrete data elements included. In this case, we have our direct message ready to go. We've base64 encoded the document, included it on the direct message, and sent it off to Epic.
All right, I'm playing the role of Juliet's attending physician, Dr. Martin. We received a call from Dr. Golan's office with a brief description of her condition, and they mentioned they were sending along a fax as well. Since the fax message was first processed by Clarity and then by Summit Exchange, the fax was received electronically as a direct message. By default, this message would have appeared in a work queue for manual review. But since there were discrete demographics included in the message, our system can perform automatic patient matching, and we can associate the information with Juliet's chart. So by clicking the Care Everywhere badge near her picture, I'm able to see the document sent by the referring clinic. One click, and I can open that document. I'll review her results and prepare her for surgery.
So that was truly amazing, what you were just able to show us, right? Is being able to not only get that fax into that workflow, but being able to get it immediately into that chart. So as Epic, being able to ask you while we were setting up, if this had arrived as a paper fax, what would it have looked like?
Well, first Dr. Martin would have to find the fax, but then someone would have to manually enter in all that information, create an encounter, which is a very time-intensive process.
And especially if you're able to find it. So if it had arrived as just a direct circuit message but didn't have those additional patient demographics in it, what would that look like then?
Yeah, so as aforementioned, if the message arrived without demographic information, it would have ended up in a work queue and required manual review. An HIM analyst would have to match the information within the message to Juliet and Epic. Another time-intensive process.
So I think that's something that's really important to understand is that even with other secure forms of transportation, when you have flat files being transmitted, no matter what, you need to be able to find some way to add extra information to allow you to do something like patient matching. This allowed, essentially, when Dr. Golan called in that original referral, that they were actually able to say, hey, I think you're already going to see my documentation in the chart. Can you review it right now? That means it would have already been in Juliet's chart. They would have been able to have a conversation almost immediately, and they would have been able to process and determine whether or not she was ready for surgery. So now I'm really excited to be participating rather than as Clarity, but now talking about myself as the actual care coordinator for the surgery center. Because we were able to communicate with that surgeon, because Dr. Golan was able to talk to them immediately with that information available, they were able to determine that yes, she's able to do surgery. Now the next piece of surgery that can be really challenging is actually scheduling that surgery and doing pre-op paperwork. So in this case, we're going to use our e-signature solution, JSign. JSign allows you to be able to do electronic signatures online. So as a care coordinator, I know that I would like to go over consent paperwork for Juliet. This is important to discuss. Although Juliet, generally the surgery should be very safe, it's still anesthesia and there are still risks attached to it. So I want to be able to talk to her about that pieces. I want to be able to say that these are a couple signers, and I even want to be able to add some observers who maybe won't be sending signatures, but are still very interested in the document. I select e-signature, and next I'm able to actually see that document. What's really flexible about JSign is that we're able to actually go into that document and add whatever fields that we need. So for example, I'm going to add myself with a signature here. I happen to be a JSign user, as you can see, so my signature will automatically populate because I have agreed to sign this. But the next piece I'm going to do is move to Juliet and make sure this is really, really easy for her. She's currently on pain medication. She's currently having not such a great week. So we want to be able to make this process as smooth for her as possible. In addition to this, we can add extra things like the date sign, the name, text box, really a lot of different flexible options. Next, I'm going to go ahead and hit Save and Next. And finally, this is my review period. I'm able to take a look at Bronwyn Huron, Juliet Pereira. I'm able to see that we have some observers. And finally, as I'm talking with her, I'm discussing all of the problems. She lets me know that she is comfortable with signing this paperwork and she's comfortable with having surgery. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Finish. And what's really wonderful is it actually shows up right in her inbox. She's able to click a link and securely sign the document. She is able to do so even while I'm still on the phone with her, so I actually get the really pleasure of just straight up transferring her to our scheduling service so she's able to schedule her surgery. And with that, I'd like to hand it back to Elad to wrap up the rest of the presentation.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what you saw here is absolutely phenomenal. In fact, superior technology is indistinguishable from magic. This, what, ladies and gentlemen, was magical. You saw a fax, which was sent via paper, be received by eFax, go through a OCR AI NLP process that was able to understand it, read it, extract the important information, put that into JSON, send it to Summit. Summit was able to transform that JSON into a direct message, which was then sent into Epic and magically end up in the patient chart. Ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely phenomenal. Now, from Juliet's perspective, she could choose which surgery center she wanted to have her surgery at. Her info was available to her providers, and although surgery is never the most pleasant thing, in this case, the experience was actually quite painless and very pleasant, and she could go home to heal with her mother. And as you saw, the whole process took less than 90 seconds, which is absolutely incredible because had it been done on paper, it could have taken days. Moreover, from the surgical center's perspective, they were able to identify a new referral partner and they could be flexible with their community partners to receive these unstructured documents like fax and automatically transform them into structured content that they can consume into their system as a direct message. So Juliet was able to have her surgery and can recover safely at home. Thank you all very, very much.